I think so. I mean, that was a brilliant innings. The halfway stage, we definitely felt on that surface we had a very competitive total. It wasn't perhaps your usual surface in terms of here at Wankhede. It sort of held a little bit and was responsive to slower balls. So we thought that 180 mark was a really good target, and I think we saw that from our first 5 overs, that it wasn't easy to get away, and I think from that point onwards, that's certainly when that innings of Shane Watson really kicked into play. And I mean, anyone that turns up and gets 100 plus in a final is obviously a significant effort, a great contribution to their side, and very difficult to stop. So a fantastic knock that saw his side home. Third? No. We worked hard and we built partnerships, and that's certainly what we wanted to do. And it wasn't the easiest, like I say. So I think I just mentioned earlier that it was a very competitive total. And, it was on a knife edge, I believe, after the first few overs where it was tight and the run rate was climbing, that there were risks required. And if we were able to pick up a couple of wickets at that stage, which we have done throughout this season, then all of a sudden it takes a very different shape. But credit to the way CSK played. They showed their experience and got through that period and took the game away from us.
Is the format fair for a team which is losing the qualifier?
Sorry, what's the question?
The format.
The format?
Losing the qualifier one, is it fair?
Yeah, I suppose it gave us the opportunity after losing a semi to then get back in the final. So it required a fairly long flight to Kolkata, but that was the nature of it. And whether it's fair or whether it's a good thing to do to play an extra game and maybe have some momentum, look, we don't really know. But I guess it was nice to have that opportunity to still make the final, which we were able to do. And for a large part of this game, there was a lot of good stuff. But once again, I think we mentioned Watson's innings, and it was an unbelievable effort by him.
What would you attribute off day of two domestic pace bowlers? Was it fatigue? Was it inability to absorb pressure, or was it something else?
Look, I'd probably rather look at the likes of Shane Watson in terms of his innings. He did put us under pressure. You come into a final, and that is one of the things you do need to deal with as best you can, pressure. Everybody's feeling it a little bit, and he responded to it beautifully and put us under more pressure. So once again, the way we started with the ball was outstanding, gave us every opportunity, and there was a balancing point there which they ran away with, and I do think that experience that they have in their side was an important factor.
What do you do as a captain when you're seeing that the opposite batsmen are not giving any wickets to your bowlers?
Yeah, I think when you pick a team, you try and pick the best balance that you have, and we certainly did that, and those are big wicket takers for us. And that is the nature of it. Sometimes you do have to applaud very good cricket, and that was CSK in terms of their batting today. It was outstanding. They didn't give us opportunities. He sort of hit it over the fence rather than to our man. Look, it is such a fine line. I know out there on the park it's an 8-wicket win, but I think we all saw that there were moments of pressure where the game can change very quickly, and if you're able to pounce on those, then that's when you take your opportunity. And today, look, I think you do credit the way that CSK were able to handle those moments of pressure and carry on with their batting performance.
Take last four, Faisal, Vijay sir, gentleman behind, and Gaurav. How easy or difficult or different was it captaining this side from New Zealand? I mean, we had a bunch of experienced star players, mix of Indian players who were looking to make their mark, and especially captaining a very late few seasons.
Yeah, it was definitely a different experience. I suppose coming into the job, there were a number of guys that I hadn't met, a variety of cultures, which I think was something that I was looking forward to, that experience, and some of the differences that we were faced. And I mean, it was enjoyable. We've got such a great bunch of guys in that franchise that give you there 100% every time you walk out onto the park, even in times where perhaps you're behind the game. We saw that character come through so often throughout the season, which is a real credit to the environment. And there are a number of other leaders and experienced players, like you mentioned, that offered so much throughout the season. So it was an enjoyable season, an enjoyable campaign. The game is such a fine line that, obviously it would have been nice to come away with the win, and I suppose for a large part of that, it was looking perhaps likely until that fantastic knock from Watson. So it wasn't to be today.
Kane, taking that question forward, you have done well as a batsman, as a captain also, and at the presentation you said being captain helped you because you have the continuity to play all the matches. But have you thought about the future when David Warner is back?
No, I haven't certainly thought about anything other than the game tonight. And what I meant by that was that when you're captaining, naturally you play a bit more, which was nice. You always want to be playing, but that in itself is a role, I suppose, and you try and adopt it as best you can. And in previous years, perhaps didn't play as much, but that's also another role, and there are players within our environment that were in that role throughout this season, so they're all important. And it was an enjoyable experience. Davey's done a fantastic job at this franchise, batting with his leadership as well, and we get on very well. So those are perhaps discussions in time, but look, I suppose it's all pretty raw at the moment in terms of the emotion after this game, and that's what we'll be reflecting on a little bit. Oh no, I mean, we look at the variety of surfaces that we played on, and I think that was huge in how our bowlers operated, and then we came on to some other surfaces and they're perhaps a little bit better, and we were trying to adjust as best we could, and we saw even in the last game, so that was brilliant. Couple of games before that, and that is the nature of T20 cricket, is that it's obviously very aggressive. Players are looking to get on top of bowlers, and at times that can happen to anyone, and it is just one of those things. But he's been a fantastic asset to our side throughout this whole campaign. His death bowling is of the highest quality, and he's got a fantastic slower ball as well that he used very well. So the likes of him and all the other boys that were in our attack were brilliant throughout the whole campaign.
Last question. We've seen a lot of Rashid Khan throughout this IPL. So he's going to take a test match against India. Do you think he has been into trouble with Indian batsmen in a test match? Indian batsmen will be very good players to spin.
Yeah, look, he's a world-class player. We've seen that in this format. It's great that he's going to be playing some test cricket, and I think he's a challenge for anyone, but an enjoyable challenge because he is right up there with the top spinners in the game, so it's always a pleasure to face him in the nets, and perhaps against him as well in the near future. So a very, very good bowler, but like you say, I mean, if the wicket's responding, like any spinner, that offers them a little bit more, but fantastic bowler, the full package, Rashid, so it was great to have him in the side, and he had a brilliant year.